July 2009, 36-year-old Diane Schuler and her husband, Daniel, went on vacation to camping, Hunter Lake, NY. They also took their 5 children with them on the trip, daughter Erin, son Brian, and 3 nieces, Mu, Allison, and Katie. They had a great weekend, and on July 26th it was time to head home. Daniel, along with the family dog, drove his pickup truck, while Diane and the 5 children got into a red minivan in Fort Winster that she borrowed from her brother, Warren Hance, father of Emma, Allison, and Katie. After about a half-hour's drive, Diane stopped at McDonald's. The children had breakfast while the woman ordered only orange juice for herself. After McDonald's, Diane stopped at a gas station. She went inside and asked an employee if the place sold painkillers, to which she received a negative answer. Diane got back in her car and drove away. Several witnesses would later say they saw a red minivan driving erratically down the highway, flashing its lights, honking its horn, and changing lanes abruptly. Shortly before noon, the minivan was spotted on the side of the road. Diane was standing beside it, leaning forward and putting her hands on her knees as if she were vomiting. A short time later, she was seen sitting on a road guardrail. According to one witness, Diane was not feeling well and may have been experiencing abdominal discomfort. Later, Diane called her brother Warren. Her speech was incoherent, and she mistakenly called him Denny, her husband's name. Diane said she was disoriented and her vision was blurred. The man could hear children crying in the background. Warren asked to put Emmy, the oldest of his daughters, on the phone. The girl said that they were fine, but that something was wrong with Aunt Diane and that Tanya could see clearly. Warren asked to put Diane on the phone and told her to stay put while he immediately set off to meet them. 10 minutes later, someone made 3 calls from Diane's phone to the wrong number. Subsequent attempts to contact her were unsuccessful, with the calls going to an answering machine. It would later turn out that she had left her cell phone on the side of the road for some reason, where another motorist later found it. After 20 minutes, Diane turned onto an exit leading to the Taconic State Parkway. The thing about this one-way road is that it is a one-way road that is not allowed to be entered, as warned by posted signs. In other words, cars can only move in the direction you see them in the photo. A few meters later, additional signs are installed to warn inattentive drivers that this is the wrong direction of travel. But despite all the warnings, Diane ignores them and ends up on a busy highway, traveling at high speed in the oncoming lane. Soon the 911 emergency number is flooded with a barrage of calls from drivers who witnessed the frightening sight. 911, hi, I'm on Taconic Expressway. Here's a car traveling in the wrong direction at about 110 kilometers per hour. State Police, 911. There's a guy going the wrong way on the Taconic Parkway. It's a minivan. State Police, 911. Where's your accident? Hey, I'm on Taconic. Is this about the minivan in the oncoming lane? Yeah, police are on their way. The minivan continued to travel on the oncoming lane at speeds between 120 and 140 kilometers per hour. It's hard to imagine what the children in the minivan were feeling at that moment. It is even more difficult to understand what was going on in the head of Diane, who was driving. Motorists tried to get the attention of the distraught minivan driver, flashing their lights, honking their horns, but to no avail. Witnesses would later say that Diane had a serene expression on her face. She had both hands on the wheel and kept her eyes on the road. Some drivers had to pull over to the side of the road to avoid a collision. This madness continued for 2.5 kilometers, and eventually the minivan, driven by Diane, collided with a Chevrolet Trailblazer SUV, into which the following Chevrolet Tracker crashed. After the powerful impact, the minivan flew several meters and stopped on the grass and caught fire. 8 people are dead, 4 of them children, all killed in a horrific car accident this afternoon. Police say the driver of this minivan veered into the oncoming lane and then collided head-on with a Chevy SUV, killing all 3 passengers in that car, despite the fact that all the children were wearing seat belts, and the youngest girl was in a car seat. They had little chance of survival as the minivan's speed at the time of the collision was about 140 kilometers per hour. Diane, her 2-year-old daughter Erin, and 2 nieces Allison and Emma died instantly. Severely injured Brian and Katie were taken to hospital, where the girl died later that day. Brian is the only survivor of the accident. He suffered multiple fractures and a serious head injury. And this is the Chevrolet Trailblazer that Diane crashed into. There were 3 people in the vehicle at the time of the accident. Michael Bastardi, his son Guy, and their friend Daniel Longo. All three died as a result of the head-on collision. Fortunately, the two occupants of the Chevy Tracker suffered minor injuries. The police soon initiated an investigation to determine the cause of such a horrific car accident that claimed 8 victims. The public was only interested in one question: what caused Diane to drive a car full of children into the oncoming lane? Diane's husband suggested that she probably suffered a stroke or heart attack on the way home. However, this theory was blown to smithereens after police released the results of Diane Schuler's cover-up. The toxicology report showed that her blood ethanol level was more than twice the legal limit. At the same time, there were about 6 grams of undigested alcohol in the woman's stomach, which had yet to make its way into her bloodstream. Later, the gruesome details came out. A broken bottle of vodka was found in Diane's minivan. In addition, the woman had high levels of tetrahydrocannabinol, the active ingredient in marijuana, in her system. All of this indicates that Diane had been drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana shortly before the accident, but it still remains unknown where and when it happened. The cashier at the McDonald's that served Diane that day reported that she was acting normal, appeared sober and did not smell of alcohol. The gas station footage also shows no obvious signs of alcohol or drug intoxication on Diane. Gas station employee confirmed that she was definitely sober. Perhaps the biggest question of this case is why Diane was using alcohol and marijuana that day. One theory is that the woman may have been suffering from severe pain caused by an obsessed tooth, causing her to seek painkillers and otherwise self-medicate with alcohol and marijuana. The toothache combined with vodka and marijuana may have driven Diane into a state of delirium that triggered her irrational behavior. Drinking alcohol and marijuana together can exacerbate their effects on the body, while Diane didn't realize how dangerous the effects could be.